Alright, hello and welcome everyone again to another Fusion360 tutorial. This is the continuation of our constraints. So the first one we're going to go over is our fix unfix. This is the lock icon up top. Now what this does is basically locks your lines or circles or any kind of geometry that you sketch, and it locks it in position. However, if you're going to use this, I would highly suggest using this as a last resort. I would try to use every other constraint tool that you have before you use this one. It's just bad practice to use just this one for all of your constraints. But we'll go into what you can do with this. So first off, we want to, let's say, make this circle on this same plane as this line here. So we'll go ahead and do our coincident. We'll click our circle in the middle, click this line. Okay, it is now locked on this axis. So let's say we want to tie it down up and down now. Let's first get our diameter constraint. So we want to lock it from going left to right. So in this case we would use a line. We'll turn it into construction line using the X key, so it's not one of our actual sketch lines. So we're going to go ahead and lock in our construction line here. We're going to use our horizontal vertical. Click this here, click this here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move it here, and we want our circle to be locked upon this path. Now, as you would go over to your coincident line, if we highlight our line and then our circle, the line actually moves instead of the circle. It's the same if you do it in reverse order. If you highlight the circle and do that, the line moves. We don't want the line to move, so what we'll do is we'll take our fix, unfix, highlight it. As you can see, it turned green. Now, as we were to go to it, we would highlight this and this. Now the circle would go over and lock into place. This is a useful feature for here. We'll go over to our midpoint constraint. So what this does is, as you will see, you can have a line, and it can be a square also. This works on any type of line. So we'll go ahead and highlight here and highlight this one. As you can see, the first one we highlighted, this is the destination of the midpoint that we want this line to be intersecting with. So it, as you can see, goes straight through the middle of this line. If you were to reverse the order and go here, this is where we want this one to go, it would then move over here. Now you cannot move one over here if you already have a constraint or multiple constraints that will keep it from moving. Otherwise, no matter what order you put it in, it's going to go to the midpoint of the one that's constrained. This also works with any angle of line, as you can see. So that is the midpoint constraint. So now we go on to our concentric. What a concentric basically is we have a square here with a filleted edge. We have our radius here. So let's say we want to make a circle and we want it to be perfectly in the center point of our radius of the circle. What you do is use the concentric constraint. So we'll go ahead and click this, highlight our circle, highlight our curved surface, and boom, our circle is now in this arced midpoint here. So here's the outer radius of our arc, and here's the midpoint, and it's snapped exactly. We'll now move on to our collinear. So basically what this is, we'll have a square here. We'll go ahead and click here. So we're going to click this line, and then we're going to click this line. As you can see, what we've done here with this line, it is running completely the same direction as this line here, and now it is locked into this position. So if you were to grab either of them, they'll be locked. So no matter what happens, it will be locked along this path. If you were to extend it, it would forever be on that line. So we'll go on to our symmetry. Typically when you use this, you want to have a construction line down the middle. So let's say we want to have this box, the center of this box, to be in perfect dead center of this box here. How you do this would be symmetry. We would go ahead and click our symmetry, and how this works is you want to highlight the two opposite edges of the thing you want to use the midpoint for, and then you would go over to a construction line here. You click it, and it's now running perfectly in this path. So if I were to move this, the center is not moving. It is directly in line with this midpoint here. It is locked in that orientation. We'll move on to our curvature. When you use a curvature, you're going to want to use a spline. So we have 3 lines of a square here. We'll go directly down, click, and hit enter. We now have our line. So we will click our curvature, we will click our spline and one of the portions of the square. It will then create this arc here. Now you're going to hit escape. You can now click on your line and you can adjust the curvature of your spline and keeping it constrained. So you can, give something a nice smooth curve, or, however you want it to be. That seems to be the last of the constraints. So hope this video is helpful. We'll be moving on forward to more exciting things, and hope to see you in the next video, and thanks for watching. Until next time.